Well, I had planned to take you on a wee run in the Boxster with the roof down, but given the fact that it's the Scottish weather and it's the Scottish summer, true to form, we'll need to do that with the roof up, but at least then you'll be able to hear the induction noise even better. So let's go and take a drive. You join me on the inside of my 981 Boxster, the car that had nothing that I wanted and lots of stuff that I didn't. First and foremost, when I started looking for one, I had to have the 3.4, I had to have the sports design steering wheel with the paddles on the right side. I wasn't that fussed about a manual or a PDK, to be honest, because I quite like the character of both. You know, what you lose in one, you gain in the other. The PDK is nice for everyday usability, the manual's nice for when you're wanting to go out for a wee bit more of an engaged drive. That being said, the PDK is up there with one of the best dual clutch gearboxes that I've ever experienced, probably rivaled only with BMW's DCT, which is, if you've ever driven an M car, is absolutely epic. I also wanted a 3.4 for the extra horsepowers and the big red calipers. I didn't get one of those. I got a 2.7 with the wee small brakes and only 265 brake horsepower. The 265 horsepower does not live below 4,000 RPM, nothing like it. You've got to absolutely wring the neck of this car to get it to perform. And to be honest, I quite enjoy doing that. It's very, very rewarding to get it up the revs, get that wee 2.7 litre singing, which we'll demonstrate just now. One of the first things I was going to buy for the car was a Porsche sports exhaust system, which Porsche will actually supply and fit for about £1,500, which is pretty good value for money when you think about it. It gives you the proper button on the centre console, and it gives you the neighbour-friendly setting as well as the open country road setting just at the push of your fingertips. Over the course of time with the car, because I was waiting in the park coming in because it was on back order, I actually really started to enjoy just how nice and honest the engine sounded using just the induction note. So instead, I spent the money on other stuff. I bought a Boxster, a Cayman GT4 front nose cone, which really modernises the front of the car. I always think that the 981s, as much as it's a really, really pretty car and it's aged dead well, that the front sat a bit high. It looked like it's kind of missing its chin. So I got that from Design 911, and along with that I also got the rear GT4 diffuser and a carbon fibre ducktail spoiler, which replaces the factory aero spoiler. It still goes up and down, but it's just got a wee bit of a flick in it. So between the deeper front end and the wee flick at the back, I absolutely love the profile of the car. The GT4 nose cone literally transforms how the car looks. It makes it look much more modern and also makes it look a bit more aggressive as well. Other options in the car that were nice to have is this has got the adaptive seats. Sorry, not adaptive, it's got the Sport Plus seats, so the bolsters are much more contoured than the standard seats, which can tend to be a wee bit flat. Another thing I was really looking for, which this car doesn't have, is the Bose sound system. This has just got the loudspeaker package, which is actually really good. Maybe not the clearest stereos, but it's got a nice bit of bass and it's got a nice bit of volume, plenty volume to enjoy with the roof down at speed, which is saying something, because generally speaking, when you've got a convertible and you're going a bit, that's when the sound quality starts to drop off. It doesn't have nav, but it's a 2014. The nav would have been prehistoric anyway, so Google Maps is, anytime I'm going on a long run, just stick the phone on the window and then follow Mr. Maps on the phone. As we all know, Google Maps is bang up to date, takes into account real time live traffic information, and you don't need to pay to subscribe to keep your maps up to date. This is a paint to sample car, so it is bright orange. It could not be any brighter. In fact, we actually had 2 customers come to see it when it was for sale, and both said they couldn't live with the colour. They said, there's no way I'm driving about in a bright orange car. It's like, okay, that's fine. In a way, I'm really glad they did, because I used it for the weekend, and over the course of the weekend I realised that I actually quite like the 2.7 litre. I could live without the Bose stereo. I didn't need nav, and the colour for me is just it's a real big part of this car. The roll hoops are body coloured as well, but so with the roof down, it really does look the part. Now this is a 2014, so this car's 9 years old, and with a private number on it, I challenge anybody to say that this car's aged at all. The car that replaced it is the 718. I'm just going to say it's got an awful engine. It's got a dreadful, I don't care how fast it is, I don't care how good the mid-range response is, and it's better on fuel and whatever, blah 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 blah. Keep all that. It doesn't sound like a Porsche. It just doesn't. It doesn't even sound as good as a WRX STI. It's just a din. And you've got your wee magneto switch there, and you put it into sport, and if it's got a sports exhaust, it just makes the noise worse. A flat 6 should be in a Porsche. End of discussion. That's it. You know, you only need to phone your local Porsche dealer and listen to fit a Porsche sports exhaust system and release the legendary flat 6 sound of your... I've got a 718. The fact that they've ditched the 4-cylinder for the GTS, I think, speaks volumes. And I'm sorry if you are watching this and you do own a 718. They're great cars, and I'm sure it handles lovely, but it's just not. It just doesn't have the same character as the older cars. For that very reason, I think the 981 Boxster is going to be an excellent place to put about 30 grand, have it for a few years, and probably not lose any money. Obviously, if you buy one and throw loads of miles on it, yes, you're going to lose a ton of money, because generally speaking, sports cars with high mileage are worth much less. But most of these cars are bought to be used as a toy, as a weekend thing, put away for the winter. So you know, generally maybe only put about 6,000 to 7,000 miles a year on it. I've put a bit more than that on it because it's my main car. But as a pound for pound fun grin factor, the 981, as far as I'm concerned, is quite possibly one of the best sports cars you can buy, as well as one of the best kind of entry level Porsche that you can buy. Why didn't you buy a 911? Okay, I've got an older 997 which has become a bit of a family heirloom, so I'm maybe not in the best position to say why I didn't buy one. But if you are looking to buy about a 30 grand Porsche and you don't need the back seat, do not for a minute think that the Boxster is not a real Porsche. It is every bit a Porsche as a 911. Okay, it might not have the same sort of handling characteristics as a rear engine 911, but Porsche are designing that out of the new 911s anyway. Apparently the 992 engine is almost rear mid-engine because they've shoved it that far into the chassis, and they started doing that with the 991s. The last kind of properly rear biased 911s, from what I've learned online, is the 997. After that, they started to make them more and more balanced, which is great for the masses. But if you want a car that does feel like a traditional 911, from 997 backwards, that's where you'll find it. And anything after a 997 from a 991 on, that's when they start to feel less rear-engined. Now, this is mid-engined, so it doesn't have any of that. It's one of the most balanced, safe, predictable sports cars that I've ever owned. I had this car around Spa a couple of weeks ago, and literally the traction control, okay, it doesn't have a lot of power, so the traction control probably wouldn't come on anyway, but it never gave me any surprises, any frights. It was so predictable, and literally I could not have pushed it any harder. But that's the thing with having 265 horsepower on a circuit. You can use all of it all of the time. But yeah, they're a great car, very reliable. They don't have any of the bore scoring issues that the older cars had, IMS issues, none of that. It's got the DFI 2.7, 3.4, depending on what you choose, with no issues. So all you've got to do, pick one, pay for it, go and enjoy. So guys, I hope you enjoyed my summary of the 981 Boxster, which I currently have, and it has been fondly renamed as the midlife crisis car because I am in my mid-years of 44 years old. It's a convertible and it's bright orange, so I really don't think you can get any more of a midlife crisis car than the Golf Orange Boxster. So there we are. Hope you enjoyed that, and if it steers you in the direction of what sports car to buy, I'm quite chuffed that the video's actually helped someone out there. But thanks again, and see you in the next one.